inaynu Somaliland adduunka u sheegno aynu magaceena ku faano oo na Somaliland baan nahay waqooyi ma nihin meel baanu leenahay la yiraahdo Somaliland waqooyi koonfur midna maahe waa Somaliland way haday Soomaaliya dhaqan leedahay waxyaabaha qaar bay ka xishoon lahayd Somaliland 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته waxaan doonayaa inaad raaliga ahaataan oo afka dalkanaynu martida u nahay inaan laba kelmadood ka soo jeediyo dabeetana afkeenii baynu ugu noqon doonaa raalnimo ku tihiin saama yeelaa Somaliland ha noolaato Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen and dear guests, all protocols observed. 10 years ago, 10 years after the Second World War, Somalilanders and other Somalis living in 5 different continents and countries in the world, in the Horn of Africa, and under different colonial administrations, conceived the idea of bringing all Somali countries together to form the greater Somali nation. This was a noble idea and was similar to the same ambition that the nations of Europe had when they founded the European Union. Sadly, the ambition 5 Somali nations had never materialized. And when the former British Somaliland Protectorate became the first and only Somali nation to become independent, it waited for former Italian Somalia to merge and to gain its independence after it exited from being an Italian trusteeship. And with Somaliland being the senior partner, the former Italian Somalia merged and united with Somaliland. Yes. Because Somaliland was the senior partner. Yes. Somaliland was the firstborn. Somaliland was that nation on the Horn of Africa inhabited by Somalis that had never known colonialism. We had a treaty of protection with Great Britain. Italian Somalia and French Somaliland were both colonies. The union between the sovereign and independent Somaliland and Somalia was a voluntary union. It was neither a conquest nor an annexation of one over the other. But what needs to be remembered is that the union never became formal. It didn't become ratified by the parliaments of the 2 nations. It was just an informal living together. There is no act of union. There was no act of union. There is no legal union ever took place between Somaliland and Somalia. And today, as we celebrate 64 years of independence, the 64th year of our anniversary and independence from Great Britain, and the 33rd anniversary of our separation from Somalia, it might be good time to reflect on the advantages our separation has brought to the nation of Somaliland. Our separation from Somalia has had advantages that we need to remember and preserve and think about. But since we are celebrating this occasion in Great Britain, I wish to take this opportunity to also celebrate the bond of friendship and the pride we associate with the 74 years that British Somaliland Protectorate was part of the great British Empire. We wish to recall how our men fought alongside the British troops and along with the Allies during the First World War and the Second World War. They were defending freedom. Somaliland troops were defending justice. Somaliland troops were defending democracy in the free world. In fact, the only Victoria Cross awarded for bravery in the Horn of Africa was awarded to Somalilanders during the Second World War. And I will recall my Abti, Umar Kujog, who was awarded the Medal for Bravery, the Victoria Cross. It is, however, very sad that today many Britons, possibly out of ignorance, do not know about the long and loyal friendship between Britain and Somaliland, and instead choose to believe the rubbish that Somalia tells the world and continues to support former Italian Somalia. When Somalia, during the war, fought for fascism, when Somalilanders and Britain were fighting for justice, democracy, and freedom of the free nations. Now, although Somalia tells the world that Somaliland is part of Somalia, Britain knows the fact that the people of Somaliland, former British Somaliland Protectorate, live within the boundaries that were established by Great Britain in 1884 through Anglo-French, Anglo-Italian, and Anglo-Ethiopian treaties. And thus, Somalilanders respect the Constitution of the African Union that stipulates that colonial boundaries cannot be changed, cannot be altered. Somaliland fully controls that colonial boundaries, and Somaliland, since the 26th of June, when Somalia was still an Italian colony, live within those same boundaries today. And Somaliland is in no way supporting the fragmentation of nations, nor in changing colonial boundaries. Ladies and gentlemen, on the contrary, it is Somalia that to this day does not have an internationally defined boundary. It is Somalia that does not have a date of independence. That's why it steals the 26th of June when it was still an Italian colony. They celebrate 26th of June, which is the Independence Day of Somaliland, because they do not have a date for their independence. It is Somalia that wishes to grab land from Kenya. It is Somalia that wishes to grab land from Ethiopia. It is Somalia that wishes to grab land from Somaliland. And finally, it is Somalia that is making a mockery of the Charter of the African Union, and it should be stopped. After 9 long years of civil war, Somaliland established itself from separated itself from Somalia in 1991, and immediately started to rebuild Somaliland, which had sustained by then destruction, total annihilation of its name, massacre of its people, and the death of 250,000 of our people. We are still finding mass graves to this day, filled with bodies of women and children and innocent victims. Ladies and gentlemen, 1991 can be described as the rebirth of our nation. And we thank all of you who are celebrating this special occasion with us. Thank you for being with us today. Please know that our country is stable. Our economy is strong and continues to grow. And Somaliland is attracting investors by the day who wish to do business in Somaliland. And we welcome those who wish to do business in Somaliland, because many others are doing that right now. In partnership with DP World, the deepwater port of Berbera continues to expand and serves as a major inlet and outlet for landlocked Ethiopia. We know that Ethiopia has a population of over 120 million, and they need to trade with the world. They need to import goods. They need to export their products. And Berbera is well placed to offer that service to anybody who wishes to use it legally and formally under very strong and internationally scrutinized contracts. Somaliland is not giving away its country. It's not giving away its port. It is signing a contract, an agreement with a neighboring country, just as we signed an agreement with DP World, because we wish to grow together, work together, earn a living for our people together, and create jobs for our people. We say Berbera Port has also the longest runway. Did you know that Berbera is one of the 6 landing sites for the Columbia Space Shuttle? Do you know that Berbera has the longest runway in Africa? It was built by the Soviet Union, and it was expanded by the United States, and it's still functional today. It is a port and an airport that is waiting for business, is waiting for you, is waiting for the world. And the 850 kilometers of coastline of Somaliland can be developed to turn the Horn of Africa into one of the busiest and most profitable sea shores and seaports of the world. Among the major achievements of Somaliland is the peace and stability that we are proud to have, because we established it and we maintain it with our own resources. We don't need international troops. We never have needed international troops to keep the peace in Somaliland. We keep the peace ourselves. When our neighbors, Somalia needs international troops to keep peace in Somalia and also peace in its capital, Mogadishu, that is protected by foreigners. Ladies and gentlemen, the foundation for our development started with the establishment of our Constitution, which became ratified in 2001 through a plebiscite, a referendum. By contrast, Somalia does not even have a constitution. That's why it can remain lawless. That's why it can do whatever it likes. It does not have a constitution. Never has had. In Somaliland, we embarked on the task of nation building. We held several parliamentary and presidential elections. We now have fully functioning government. We have offices. We have ministries. We have a system of government that is run by elected members of parliament and elected president. By contrast, Somalia has never held an election. It cannot. It is so fragmented. It is so disorganized. But it has earned a position, a title in the world by being the most lawless, failed state in the world. Regretfully, rather than giving credit to Africa's achievements, similar to the shining example that we have in Somaliland, the international world chooses to reward Somalia for all its sins. And maybe it's because it needs 50,000 troops who have jobs and earn money in Somalia. The people of Somaliland have made a clear choice, which is to steer the country towards further economic growth, peace and democracy, and keep doing things successfully as we have been doing it for the past 33 years. Finally, our separation from Somalia is final. It is simply a withdrawal from the failed state, the failed attempt to unify two countries. We are doing exactly what Gambia did and Senegal. They united voluntarily and they separated. They did not cause further fragmentation of the African countries. Sadly, it is former Italian Somalia that has crumbled beyond repair and should try to put its house in order rather than blaming Somaliland for the chronic illnesses and failures of Somalia. I thank you for your attention, and I would like to follow this with a few words in Somali. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Laba kelmadood baan oranaya. Laba kelmadood baan oranaya. Waxaan doonayaa inaan la dardaarmo. Waxaan leeyahay nidaamka iyo quruxda badan iyo xafladahan aynu isugu soo baxnay qaarnayna sugayaan. Waxaan doonayaa inay ka marxaati noqdaan ama ay adduunka ay tusaan midnimadeena. Waxaan doonayaa inaynu yeelano himilooyin ku dhisan inaynu Somaliland adduunka u sheegno. Aynu magaceena ku faano. Oyna Somaliland baan nahay, Waqooyi ma nihin. Meel baanu leenahay la yiraahdo Somaliland. Waqooyi Koofur midna maahe waa Somaliland. Waa Somaliland. Magaceenu waa ka. Waxaan doonayaa inaynu adduunka ugu faano aqoon. Waxaan doonayaa adduunka inaynu ugu faano nidaam. Waxaan doonayaa adduunka inaynu ugu faano quruxda iyo wanaagga iyo dhaqankeena quruxda badan ee Somaliland leedahay ee aynu keli ku nahay. Waayo hadday Soomaaliya dhaqan leedahay waxyaabaha qaar bay ka xishoon lahayd. hadday Soomaaliya magac leedahay ama meel leedahay 26 Juun kaamay martideen oo iskumay daydeen inay ka xoogto oo ay ku dabaaldegto waxay taa u leedahay iyada taariikh ay ku dabaaldegto weyday hadday doonayaan annaga hana hoos yimaadaan oo aanu marti qaadno oo haysu keen dhul dhigaan waynu martiyo xabada saambuusi xabada keega waynu la wadaagiyeen laakiin waxaanu leenahay tiinii doonta kowdii July doonta taasaa markii hore idin baxday taasaad leedihiin taasaad kali ku tihiin laakiin 26 Juun haddaad ku dabaaldegtaan Somaliland baad hoos imanaysaan ogaada Somaliland baa ku taariikhaysan Somaliland baa diiwaanka ku qoran Somaliland baa cadaynteeda leh marka ama martino ahaada oo hoos kaalaya ama tiinii ku eedkaada kowdii July tiinii haysta waxaan doonayaa dhalinyaraday inaad maanta noqotaan kuwa tusa adduunka maskaxda wanaagsan aad leedihiin cilmiga barta waxaan doonayaa inaan ka dhex arko lawyers waxaan doonayaa ka dhex arko engineers waxaan doonayaa ka dhex arko and doctors and nurses, of course, and midwives. Waxaan doonayaa shaqooyinka ugu wanaagsan inaad gashaan ood barataan ood ku shaqaysaan oo laydinku barto oo laydinku tilmaamo oo marka qof Somaliland oo meel maraya la arko la yiraahdo alla waa kuwii wanaagsanaa waa kuwii cilmiga lahaa waa kuwii nidaamka lahaa marka waxaan leeyahay ilaahay hay nagu simo aqoonsigeeni baa soo dhow magaceenu meel wanaagsan buu marayaa magaciina iyo madaxiinaba kor u qaada ilaahay nagu mahadnaqa halka ilaahay inagu garab galay ee ina soo gaarsiiyay waxaan doonayaa inaan u mahadnaqo oo ammaano safaaraddeena Somaliland ee magaalada London dalka Ingiriiska waxaan doonayaa safaaradaheena meel ay joogaanba maanta waxaan ogahay hawl weyn bay hayaan tan oo kale ayaa meel walba caasimad ba lagu hayaa waa lagu banaan baxaya Mareykan waa lagu banaan baxaya waan ku sii socdaa hadii ilaahay igu simo France waa lagu Europe waa lagu banaan baxaya waa la xalfadeynayaa yay xafladuun inaga noqonin ficilna aynu raacino hawl aynu raacino nidaam aynu raacino ubadkeena ka ilaalino maxaabiis iyo jeelasha aynu ka ilaalino jeelasha kuwoodu ha buuxiyeen Soomaaliya ha buuxiso iyaga yaqaana dunuubiyo iyaga yaqaana terrorism waxa yaqaanee kuweenu waa inay ahaadaan dad ka nadiifa